Good evening. We'd like to welcome everybody to our December virtual roundtable meeting. Um, we hope everybody has a chance to watch this video around the holidays. What we like at this point is for us to do our opening. So, Dan, if you can share the video, and if everybody could rise in their living room.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty, to guard my country, and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent.
Cool. Thank you. For our meeting, we are going to have Brian Nelson do a little program on creative ways to close a virtual meeting. And then we're going to have Ryan Teat do a little camp promotion. And then Brian is going to help close us out with, we've had some issues where units haven't been able to meet in their traditional location. So he's got some creative ideas on where we can go ahead and hold our meetings during that situation. So if Brian Nelson would like to take over the program.
Perfect. Thanks, Tommy. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, well, so I came across this article and I'll talk about where I got it in a little bit. But I thought it was pretty ingenious ways to be able to end your virtual or in-person meetings, because you're trying to find new ideas that are out there and trying to find ways to be creative in how to do this and keep the scouts' attention. So what do I do to be able to end a meeting? The article is talking about the Troop 308 in Waco, Texas, in Longhorn Council. They invite past members to be able to give at least a 5, maybe 10-minute talk at the close of each meeting. Because the meetings are being held through the Zoom during the pandemic, it's just a snap to be able to invite someone to join from anywhere in the world. Not only for Zoom, but for in-person meetings as well. So, Troop 308, these alumni, many of them have been Eagle Scouts. To talk about what they're doing now, what they remember most about their time in scouting, and how scouting prepared them for college, a career, and family. How do you find these special guests to give your meetings? Well, one of the things you can be able to do is you can be able to contact your council and say, hey, I'm with Troop whatever your troop number, and say, hey, I'd like to be able to get a list of the past Eagle Scouts. And they'll be more than happy to be able to send that over to you. Matter of fact, when you get that back, you may even know some of them. If you don't know, and so yeah, if you know them, please give them a call, look them up on Facebook. Council may have a record of if they're currently around or their last known phone number, maybe, I don't know. Contact other Eagle Scouts in the community. So you may know some notable community leaders that are out there, business owners that are out there that would love to be able to come speak to Scouts, because Scouts influence them. Why would they not give up the opportunity to come talk to Scouts and influence them to be able to be the next community leaders? Social media, get on your favorite social media, whatever that may be, and say, hey, I'm looking for any Eagle Scouts in the area or even across the US or the world to come speak at our virtual meeting. You would be surprised the amount of responses that you would get. Matter of fact, I saw one recently and it had over 400 different responses from all over the world because people kept sharing it. And there was someone actually from Australia jumped on and said that they were an Eagle Scout and talked about how it influenced them But how cool would it be for someone to be here in the US and someone in a whole other continent jump on their Zoom meeting and talk about how they were Eagle Scouts? Pretty impressive. See, past Scouts that may not have completed their Eagle. And I only say this because it's encouragement. And in my town here, our mayor was a Scout. When we talk about Scouts as an adult now, when you hear different adults speak, they say either I am an Eagle Scout or I was a Scout. There's really no in between. And it's that little encouragement. And he has spoken at several different scouting events, and he talks about the first thing he says, I was a Scout. And then he talks about his scouting experiences and what he got out of scouting and how it's been able to help him through school and how it's been able to help him through his career and how it's been able to help him being the mayor here. So it really was encouraging for him to kind of talk within these meetings. I've actually had him at my meetings myself before he actually was the mayor and then after he was the mayor. So they were both absolutely amazing speeches and inspiring to the Scouts there. Matter of fact, when you have them do like a show and tell. Have them bring some scouting memorabilia that they have, because there might be some things back when they were in Scouts that we may or may not have now, or things that they earned or did that we may or may not have done that might inspire the Scouts to be able to do something. So like I said, give them about 10 to 15 minutes to speak at the very end of their meeting. So if you want to give that up, great, highly recommend it. So links in this article, there's a couple different links that I saw in this article that may help with Restart Your Scouting Checklist. Basically talks about how you can be able to get back into your meetings, how to restart meetings from going from a Zoom back to in-person meetings. The other link in there is youth protection. So if anybody that you're looking for needs to have youth protection, there's a link in there as well. Now, where did I find this article? I actually saw this article on a few different platforms. One is, it came to me through Twitter. I follow several different scouting outlets on Twitter, but it came through the Scouting Magazine on Twitter, which I thought was pretty cool. The other place I follow is called Brian on Scouting. As a matter of fact, Brian is and it's not me, in case you're wondering, he's an Eagle Scout, and he does blogs for scouting for all different kinds of activities and things that people are doing, and posts them and talks about them and praises them and talks. So it's a great idea. Look at it, follow it. And you can also go on scoutingmagazine.org. So you can always look that up there as well. So food for thought on this. I saw this within the article, just so you know where I get this from. All of this gave me a new perspective on how Scouts can influence a person for many years after he leaves Scouts and ventures into life. They've heard from Scouts currently in college or grad school, working engineers, lawyers, teachers, nurses, Scouts with children and Scouts. All are different, and many talk about hobbies, camping, beekeeping, cooking, and more. We had past Eagle Scouts from a variety of ages and locations call into meetings, says the SPL. Other than having their Eagle Scout rank in common, they all mentioned in their stories what they learned from merit badges and their experiences prepared them for life, and how their memories have stayed with them throughout life. So I definitely encourage you to take a few minutes to look for ideas to invite guests to your virtual meetings. So Tommy, I will throw it back over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Brian. I think up next, we're going to have Ryan Teat give us a little update on camping.
Good evening. Thank you, Tommy. And thank you, Brian, for that awesome information and all that you're doing to help keep Scouts engaged during these times. My name is Ryan Teat, and I'm the Southern Area Program Director for the Delmarva Council, as well as the Summer Camp Director here at Henson Scout Reservation. And that is what I want to take just a couple minutes to talk to you about. That is this spring and this summer at our council camps. But before we get into that, I want to recap some of the awesome events that we have done already this fall. In November, at the Point at Pintail, the council hosted a fall camporee for over 200 Scouts and an additional 100 adults. It was an awesome event. We utilized the shooting ranges and the clay pigeon shooting stations that they have there all the scouts had a lot of fun, even though it was a very muddy weekend. Also at our council camps, we hosted Cub Family Days. Those took place the first 4 Saturdays in the month of October, 2 being at Rodney Scout Reservation, 1 at Henson, and 1 at Ackridge. In total, over 300 scouts and over 300 adults attended those 4 different Cub Family Days. One of the things that we learned from these in-person events that we put on this fall is something that we expected going into them, and it is that we are able to hold in-person events and hold them safely. Protocols and procedures were in place for all of these events. They took place 100% outdoors. All participants were wearing masks at all times. We were able to be socially distant. Any program materials or supplies that were shared were wiped down and sanitized in between the use from different scouts. So all of the plans that we put together worked flawlessly. No one got sick or transmitted any type of illness that we're aware of, and we're talking almost 1,000 people through in-person events that we hosted this fall. So that was a great success, and it proves that here in the Delmarva Council, we know how to handle the situation in front of us. And that leads me into Summer Camp 2021. These events give us an even greater confidence looking ahead at this summer that we will be able to operate our Scouts BSA resident camps safely and fully. We have invested in COVID supplies, we have sanitation supplies, we have revamped our schedules and our programs so that they can all be done in a safe manner. We anticipate being able to open on time in June, and we are preparing 100% to do so at both properties. We are hiring camp staff, making camp improvements, and working on our programs for this summer. One of the things that I want to stress to you and all of your scouts is the importance of staying close to home and being close to home. We feel, we know that we are going to operate safe summer programs, and we feel as though your scouting families would feel safest knowing that they are going to their council camp. Something that is close to home, something that now has a proven track record of being able to operate safe programs. Keep in mind that there will be additional restrictions still in place for this upcoming summer. Things like carpooling are probably still not going to be allowed, so families will have to drive individually and drop off their scouts at camp. Just another reason to choose a summer camp closer to home. Additionally, as members of the Delmarva Council, you have invested interests in your council camps. You own them, and they are here to provide programming and support for you. So we are looking forward to a fantastic summer camp season. We hope to see as many of you as possible here this summer, and we anticipate that it'll be a safe and fun season. So thank you all. Please reach out to the program department at any time with questions or concerns that you might have about upcoming programs, and we look forward to seeing you all in the future. Thank you, and I'll turn it back to Tommy.
Thanks, Ryan. We are going to go back now to Brian Nelson. He's going to go over a few things that we can do if we're having trouble finding a meeting location due to current restrictions.
All right, I'll go ahead and share my screen. All righty. So again, I was looking at a couple different areas, and I'm a big Twitter guy, and I like to see different things. And I follow a lot of on scouting, again, which is where I got this same exact article that came across. And I thought nowadays, some people are trying to go back into having in-person meetings, which is great. But what happens if your organization will not allow you to meet at that due to COVID regulations, or that facility may be shut down? So let's talk about this. So how do you find your alternative meeting locations for your packed troop, ship, or crew? The scout campouts are your pizza toppings, cheese, pepperoni, mushrooms, or whatever else you're craving, and consider the meetings the crispy crust and savory sauce. Scout meetings hold everything together and provide a solid foundation to deliver the other ingredients of a successful scouting experience. Now, if you're unable to meet for whatever reason, whether your local or state COVID-19 regulations make it impossible to meet at your regular location, your target organization facility has chosen to remain closed or is otherwise unavailable right now, you or your scouts are experiencing Zoom fatigue and desperately want to find a way to safely meet in person. So let's talk about these needs. And just so if anybody did not hear the governor of Maryland speak earlier today, he did say that the Maryland Department of Health is saying that they're going from meeting 25 people down to 10 people right now. So just keep these regulations in mind. So in the article, it talks about 5 steps to plan for finding an alternative meeting place. Step number 1, check the Restart Scouting checklist, which is within this article that I will tell you where I got it a little bit later. In it, this link is to restarting the scouting checklist. So it basically talks about what to be able to look for, how to be able to have your protocols, your PPE, and make sure that things are safe from that standpoint. How to be able to have the meetings set up as far as people being there, and the guidelines for that. So check that out, make sure you're obviously in compliance, that you don't miss anything with that. Your minimum guide protocols that adult leaders and volunteers must consider while working with the local and state health departments, local councils, chartered organizations, and scouting families on when and how to resume meetings, service projects, camping, and all other official scouting activities. Step number 2, talk to your chartered organization. If you have not already talked to them, or if they have not reached out to you yet, all you gotta do, make a phone call, shoot an email. You never know what they're gonna say, because the only answer you're not gonna get is the one you don't ask. So and you could ask questions like, hey, I know we can't meet inside, but can we meet outside? My troop currently right now, we meet outside, even though there is some space inside, but it doesn't really meet the regulations for the size of the troop. We're meeting outside in the parking lot. Everybody brings their own chair. There's cones all around, and that's where we meet. You can go meet at a local park, a council camp facility, because I'm sure that they would be more than happy to be able to help you out as far as having your weekly meetings. Other outdoor public locations, plazas, gardens, state or national parks. And if you're still having trouble trying to find a spot, talk to your district executive. I'm sure they have plenty of spots that they may be able to recommend to you. Step 3, conduct a safety check / walkthrough of your new meeting spot. In this article, it does have a link in there about meeting place inspection checklist, which will help you have a safe meeting moving forward there. While the checklist was designed to be able to use with indoor spaces, it can easily apply to an inspection of your temporary alternative meeting place location outdoors. Step 4, notify everyone about your new meeting location time. This is important because a new location is news worth sharing with everyone in your unit, including your scouts, your parents, volunteers, unit committee members, and your district executive. One of the things that I suggest to you is your scout leader and your committee member may already have access to your PIN on scouting.org. Have them go onto the PIN. If you are not at your current facility, you can be able to have them go onto your PIN and say, we're currently meeting online. Contact us to get the link to meet at our meeting. Or if you're meeting at a park, have them change the pin there. So if somebody that's new wants to come check out your unit, they can click on your unit and say, oh, they typically would meet at this facility, but now they're meeting at this park. Oh, come check us out. Great. That way they can be able to find you whenever to do that. If you're not sure how to update your PIN, check with your district executive, and they'll be more than happy to help you out. One unit shifted their meetings to the weekend because there simply aren't as many daylight hours available during the week. If you're a facility there and you have to meet outside and there's no outdoor lights there, you can change your meeting. There's nothing that says you have to meet at the same day, at the same time. Is it going to be a little different? Yes. But if you don't have the lighting there to make it safe for your scouts, then change the time. You could always meet on the weekends where there is daylight. And there's nothing wrong with meeting on the weekends. As long as everybody is on the same page and everybody's aware of the day and the time, that's what matters. Whenever informing your pack or troop or ship or crew about something, as important as a meeting location and time, I find it best to be able to use multiple methods. So consider these top 3 ways to communicate with families: email, text. If you have a group Facebook, a troop or a pack Facebook, use that to be able to send that out as well. Step 5, meet and adjust as necessary. A lot of times when you're doing things for the first time, it might go as planned. On the other hand, it might not go as planned. You may need to adjust a few things. Some of the scouts think that when they meet together, oh, it's just another high five, let's meet together. No, you need to make sure that they are socially distanced. You know, what I do in my troop is if they're lining up to go do the flag, make sure everybody's standing fingertip to fingertip front and fingertip to fingertip sideways. So they're at least 6 feet apart from each other when they're walking to the flag. But remain mindful of what some consider the unofficial 13th point of the Scout Law. A Scout is flexible. You never know what's going to happen, but you may need to adjust things from week to week or minute to minute to ensure the safety of everybody. You might need to postpone a meeting at the last minute because of the weather, a potential COVID outbreak in your unit, in your community, or any other health and safety concerns. By all means, if you need to postpone it because somebody, a parent or a scout, has come down with it or been exposed to it, you're better off being safe than being sorry. Consider scheduling 2 dates for each meeting. This was just a suggestion, a primary date saying this is where we're going to meet every week and at this time. But if this doesn't work, the backup plan would be maybe the next day at the same time. So something to consider. Final thoughts. Each of you are doing a great job. Regardless of what's going on right now, you're doing a great job. Why? Because you're wanting to be able to and helping to ensure that these scouts are having a program that can be able to help build them up and make them better leaders and better people, better scouts moving forward. To remember that scouting during a pandemic is a new experience for everyone else out there too. It's okay if you don't have all the right answers. Scouting perhaps more now than any other youth serving organization out there. Prepares young people to be resilient. It teaches grit. It teaches them to find alternative routes around life's most ominous obstacles. Try to restore some sense of normalcy. Where did I find this article? Again, just like I did earlier, I found it on Twitter, which was the scouting magazine that I follow on there. You could also find it on Brian on Scouting if you Google that, or if you go to scoutingmagazine.org, you can search for that article there as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss it back over to Tommy.
Thank you, Brian. Before we close, just a couple of reminders. If anybody has any questions about anything related to what was discussed during this meeting, you can go ahead and shoot an email over to Dan Davis. His email is ddavis@dmvc.org. And he will go ahead and either answer the question or forward it to the appropriate party to be able to answer the question for you. Also, another reminder is January will be another virtual council roundtable meeting. It is set up for January 26th. And the topic at the moment is I'm going to talk about spring recruitment. We're hopefully getting out of This COVID season, vaccines are coming out. So looking to the spring, and how can we, do some recruitment during the spring? And then in February, there won't be a virtual council roundtable. It's going to be kicked over to the districts. So go ahead and keep your eyes open for an announcement from your district about how the February roundtable meeting will be held and where. And then in closing, we just hope that everybody has a very safe and happy holiday and a happy new year. And we look forward to seeing everybody back again in 2021. Everybody have a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time you're watching this video. Have a good day.